What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy 14th Prime, and tonight I want to discuss the fact that Hasbro and Activision and TFW 2005 just pretty much confirmed that if we just stand and wait patient, not only will we be seeing toys for devastation, but we could also have Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron back in a little bit, but it's going to take a while. Let me explain. So apparently there was a Hasbro team discussion that went on, and they spoke with Evan and a couple other people, whatever. But so they started off asking, so as far as the Gamer Edition, is it limited to just War for Cybertron, or will Fall of Cybertron, meaning the Dinobots and Bruticus, all be able to be made into toys? Will all the Transformers games be included? And they said pretty much all of it. Think of the clear winner would be probably Devastation, because everybody wants some Devastation stuff. We need to figure out how to do the cell shading for it. You figure they've got Nova Prime coming. Continuing from War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron is on the table. The team even joked about doing Mystery of Convoy. Now, for those of you youngins that don't know what that is, that was an old game. I want to say it was on Nintendo, but just, it was only released in like Japan. But anyway, they said they wanted to do some kind of dot deco, which, back then graphics weren't great, so everything was like very pixelated. And he said that we already have the Ultra Magnus, and we have Rodimus from Kingdom, so why not? Why not some N64 Transmetals too? What? He said we can get some of that stuff in there, and there's a lot of options. If it's been in a video game, we pretty much have the opportunity to look at it and use it. Taking a cue from Star Wars and what they did with their gamer stuff, there's no licensing issues. They own all of it. It's all on the table. But with live action movie stuff, there's always something going on, so you have to deal with Paramount and the licensors and all that stuff. Now, the thing that we all wanted to know, the question was, is it possible to re-release the Activision Transformers games to coincide with Gamer Edition? He said sadly. Now hold on, just because he started off with sadly doesn't mean it's a sad news. Apparently Activision is not sure what hard drives they're on in the building. When a company eats a company that eats a company that gets lost, things get lost, and it's very frustrating. The hope is right now that with the deal going forward with Microsoft and Xbox, that they'll go through all the archives and every hard drive to find it, because it's an easy Game Pass ad. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. We want those games back up for people to have a chance to play it. So they asked him what was the impact of the process of making Gamer Edition. He was like, Sam had to load up the games on an older platform because there were some deco details they couldn't find. They have the CAD drawings, but they weren't colored. So they needed to find some character details within the games themselves. So then the next question was, so you do have the game assets then? And he was like, we do. But it's very interesting. Fall of Cybertron, we have everything. But for War for Cybertron, they had to rip it themselves because they couldn't find it. And the people just kept sending concept art, which they didn't want, so they needed the CAD drawings. So they booted up an old computer and ripped them all from there, which was a learning experience and a long weekend because they just wanted to get it right. So that's why they did it like that. So they asked him what led to the Gamers Edition creation, were High Moon or Activision involved in coming up with the ideas, and he said no, they actually weren't, because they now own the rights, meaning Hasbro. They're licensed from us to be produced, so we have that freedom. Again, we took that from Star Wars. We looked at what they were doing with the Black Series and the gamer stuff, and we really seemed like a natural progression because we wanted to expand Studio Series into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, if they can go into this massive building, find all these massive servers, and find exactly which one. Imagine having 3,000 computers, and each one of them has a different game on it, but none of them are labeled. That's basically all they got to do, and they know where they are. It's Hasbro. They will find it. They're going to find it. They've already got the plans to have it on Game Pass. My prediction is that we will be seeing these again. I say within a year. How long would it really take a team of individuals to go in and search through the servers to find the code? Here's the thing. I used to program games. I know how easy it is. All I got to do is find the source code, find the copy match, run it through all the servers. Boom. You've got the game back. And now, like he said, that they have it. We pretty much can look forward to. I say in about a year, we should be looking at War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. Another reason I say this is because later on, they asked about who else they would like to see be done, and he said that they would love to do like a studio series Titan of Trypticon from the War for Cybertron game. So if you've already made it, clear, you all already have ideas and visions of, not saying it is next year or even the year after that, but to say that you've already got it in y'all's minds that you want a Titan class Trypticon from the game tells me that you will be releasing the game, because a lot of you young kids ain't play this. A lot of y'all was like 7 or 8 when this came out, and then weren't allowed to play it. I was grown. I waited in line to play War for Cybertron. Like, dead serious. I was at GameStop at 11:45 that night waiting in line to get this game. Only to find out that there was like 5 other people in line and I could have just got it normally. But also he was saying that there was a lot of a lot of characters that they want to revisit, in the future, like maybe making where is it? Video game collabs. Like he was saying that they just want to grow as a company, and we're definitely willing to partner with video game companies. Clearly, Nintendo partnered with Lego; they made a Nintendo system, and then there was or if there was a Super Nintendo Transformer at one point in Japan, and they would love to do something along those lines with a partnership like with Sega or a partnership with Microsoft or even Sony to make a PlayStation. That would be awesome. So then they asked, what about a crossover game like Warframe, for example? They have characters that are called Prime Warframes. That would be interesting. He said, yeah, their designs are very Michael Bay-ish, or like a Transformers Pokemon, and get a whole new group of fans collecting. And they were like, yeah, the dream. That would be awesome. So comics are also now included as far as, if it's considered a studio, they can now make the toys. First we had 86. Now we have the Gamer Edition expanding in the studio series. What other things can they do? And he was saying basically, technically, a studio, anything that's a studio is on the table. That's what made studio series so authentic. They don't want to just shoehorn everything in the studio series, but there are opportunities to grow the brand. We always say from screen to toy, and a lot of people read comics on screens now. So there you go. We do also have a whole lot of people that want to see, comic book toys. And we see that with Javelin and Cascade. Those were from the comics, and they're on pre-order right now. So all this stuff that they're basically saying are teasers. Like, this stuff is coming. Moving on to Legacy, there were a lot of animated characters that were unmade back in the day, like Omega Supreme, the Constructicons, Striker. Do Nintendo initially released some of them? And he was like, they're always on the table. Legacy provides us a massive sandbox. And as we're approaching our 40th anniversary, there's a lot of stuff to pull from, and they want to celebrate the fandom. So therefore, Star Saber and Armada animated, Robots in Disguise 2001, Victory, Robots in Disguise 2015. There's a lot of stuff that they plan on doing. When asked if they would be considering or looking into doing like a new Unicron, they were saying that it's a possibility, but they gotta wait until after this movie trilogy is over in order to do that. But anyway, back to the games. Like, we know we've got the Earthspark game coming in a couple months, featuring Bumblebee. We know Reactivate is coming, hopefully not too long from now. But yeah, wouldn't it be wonderful to go back to and be able to pull out a remastered version of War for Cybertron or Fall of Cybertron and play it? And I thought this a long time ago in a video that I had made. It was weird to me that they would just start out of nowhere making figures from those two games. Like, what was the point of making them if we weren't ever going to play them again? So that kind of leads me to believe that they knew that the acquisition was going to go through, or they knew that they would get the rights back to these two games, and they were like, well, let's go ahead and hype people up for it now and, see how it works out. And sure enough, we bought it. The pre-orders for Bumblebee, for Gamer Edition Bumblebee, Optimus and everything was sold. Megatron's supposed to be coming. Barricade came out. So with a one-on-one with Evan, they said, overall, what is the Gamer Edition fig you'd like to do the most? He said Titan Trypticon or Fall of Cybertron Combaticons. My thing on that is that I think that being that Trypticon just came out, like 5 years ago, which is still an amazing figure, I don't see them redoing him quite yet. I think they would do Metroplex first, or maybe Fall of Cybertron Metroplex first. Or maybe a Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron Omega Supreme. The last thing I wanted to say was they were talking about the next Titan, and sure enough, the Nemesis is not. The Tidal Wave will not be a retool of the Nemesis. Tidal Wave will have his own mold, which is awesome. One thing I don't have is a giant boat in my studio. Aircraft carrier. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger. But anyway, it's your buddy 14th Prime. Just wanted to give you these amazing updates. Y'all have a good evening.